ਪ੍ਰਵਾਸੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੋ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ। ਇੱਕ ਤੇ ਨੇ Asima Vezina. She is President and Vice Chancellor of Algoma University, and we have Sumbal Sayed. She is Director Professional Continuing Education, again from University of Algoma. So recently we had to go to attend one of their special event which they conducted at the campus, Brampton campus of the university. So it was very nice to meet both of them over there, but now we have invited them into our studio to talk more about how the Algoma University is helping the international students, what kind of programs they are offering, many other things which they need to know, and particularly people watching this show in Punjab or in Pakistan or in India and any part of the world. I'm sure this is going to be very, very important information for you guys. So we have seen over the last few years the influx, the kind of students from the other parts of the world coming to Canada for higher education. International students are here in hundreds and thousands of numbers. Many of them are settling in GTA area. So Algoma University is playing very, very important, crucial role to educate those people, to help them to settle here in this country. So that's why we have requested them, we invited them in our studio. So first of all, Asima, thank you so much for sparing some time to come to our studio.
Oh, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here today with you.
And Sumbal, welcome to you also.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay. So first of all, you tell us more about yourself because we heard such a beautiful story about your journey. I mean, first of all, your mother, she came from Pakistan. Tell us more about that before we start talking about Algoma University.
Sure. I mean, I think it is an important story in my life and part of the reason I am where I am today. So my mother immigrated to Pakistan. She was actually an international student.
Yeah.
She was 17 years old when she moved from Lahore to Guelph, Ontario.
Which year it was?
Lahore.
Yeah, which year it was?
Oh, which year? 1965.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you can imagine 17 years old, a young Pakistani woman, and coming all the way over here on her own without her family, and going to Guelph, University of Guelph, and settling in that area. And so I think for me, she met my father at university, which also was a bit of an interesting experience because my father was a Canadian of Irish descent.
Okay.
And so that was a whole other thing that she had to work through with her family as she graduated. But they ended up moving to Northern Ontario, and that's where I was raised on a farm in a small rural area.
Okay.
And I think back to her experience. She was a nurse. She became a director of nursing at a home for the aged.
Okay.
She was an amazing leader and I think taught me so much. But she also schooled all of us then in the Canadian education system. So we all went to university here. My brother's a veterinarian, my other brother's an engineer, and of course I'm now a president of a university. I think the only president right now in Canada, female president with the Pakistani heritage.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. We'll talk more about that later on. And Sumbal, you tell us more about your journey.
Yeah, so I think just going back to my experiences, you know, I came here very young to Canada. My heritage and my background is from Bangladesh, but you know, one of the things that has kind of brought me to Algoma today is just the unique special mission that the university has about cross-cultural learning. I think feeling comfortable here bringing, each vision, whether it's myself or sitting beside the president and being able to share that, I think is a great feat for anyone that's part of the Algoma community. And just growing up in Canada, I've always been in the GTA. I've gone to university in McMaster, and from there it kind of led me to the educational kind of journey of administration. So I've worked for various colleges, universities, but very proud to be here with Algoma University today to share my vision and share in the special mission that we have. So
wonderful. And your grandparents, first of all, they came to Canada?
They did. They came here in the early 90s. So my father, mother, I have two younger brothers. We all came here as a family, and I was lucky enough to have both my grandparents here with us. My grandmother just passed away last year, but both, were buried in the Hamilton cemetery where I grew up in that city. And it's been very interesting to have that journey where, there wasn't a lot of diversity growing up
at that time.
And I think learning through my own challenges of who I am today is really an eye-opener for where I've landed today. And through education and other experiences, it's been really wonderful to be here today.
Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, so coming back to Algoma University, tell us the history of this university, how it was originated and where it is now after such a long journey.
So I've been with the university for about 3.5 years as president now, and I think what drew me to the university was that special mission and the origin, how it got its beginning. And one of the really unique things about Algoma University is its special mission, which was bestowed to it by the Ontario government and in 2007, actually. And the special mission of the university speaks to the importance of cross-cultural teaching and learning. And it really originates from a man who was quite visionary at the time. His name was Chief Shingwak.
Okay.
And he was a very important figure in the 1800s in the area of Sault Ste. Marie, which was called Baoting at the time. And he had this vision. For him, he was of Ojibwe descent, and he could see the Europeans coming and starting to settle in colonies in Canada. And so he sort of developed this idea, this vision for cross-cultural teaching, learning, and understanding, where people would learn from and with each other and live in harmony together. So we would learn the best from the different cultures, and that would help us live together. And of course, in the mid-1800s and throughout the 1900s, that vision was lost in the residential school system, which we all are very aware of. And our campus in Sault Ste. Marie was actually at one point, one of the buildings there was a former residential school. And so we really have spent a lot of time ensuring that that building is protected and it tells the truth of Canada's history. Because we know that this history is also evident in many other countries, where oppression, racism, and some travesty that's happened because we're not living in a way that respects each other and our beliefs and our values. And so I think Algoma has a very important role to play today with that special mission. And I'm proud to say that we have now over 60 countries represented at the university. And so it's such an awesome opportunity now for our students and for our employees to relive that vision in today's society. And what does it mean then when you have 60 countries choosing Algoma, and we have this special mission where we want to learn from and with all of you as we learn what it means to live harmoniously together in this world. That's really who we are and what we aim to be.
Wonderful. Okay, so now Algoma is offering so many different courses. It's growing very fast. I have seen over the last few years, the number of students have grown a lot. So you were telling us on that day that it started with very small number. Now they are in thousands. So tell us more about that.
Okay, so this is an interesting story because when I came to the university, we were struggling with enrollment. We were predominantly in Northern Ontario. But we had this little wee campus in Brampton.
Yeah.
And there were about 68 students there, and they were in a business college pathway program. And so I came to see what this program was all about and wondering why we were in Brampton. And of course, I didn't know it at the time, but there's a really important reason why we are in Brampton.
Okay.
And I'll explain that in a little bit. But when I got to Brampton, I had no idea that this community would be a place where we would flourish. Okay. And so in meeting with the business community and the students and the alumni who had been through our programs and all of the neighbors that were in the area where our campus was, I realized that it was important that Brampton have a university that could provide programming. And so we didn't look back. We talked extensively with the city, and we started to build a strategy to grow in Brampton and Sault Ste. Marie. Okay. And so today, that 68 student campus is now 3,000 students coming in this fall. And that's FTE. And still expanding. So we will be about 5,000 students in the next 2 years.
Great.
Right in Garden Square, downtown Brampton.
Wonderful, yeah. And Brampton downtown, guys, you can go and see, and they are acquiring more buildings and admitting more and more students and introducing new program also. Sumal, you tell us, I mean, what kind of programs Algoma is offering people watching this program back home in India and Pakistan or any other part of the world so that they can know more about the programs being offered by Algoma?
Yeah, so I think one aspect of Algoma is, of course, we offer our degree programs. We've got a beautiful faculty of computer science. They're very innovative, the School of Business and Economics. But aside from that, we're also growing our professional and continuing education. Okay. And that's something of really relevance and interest of everyone today. You know, with our ever-changing world today, technology is changing so much. I think it's really important to recognize that we need to also cater to not only our employers, what are the skills of the workforce, and that's globally. You know, technology is something that is not just being used here in North America, but all over the world, and it's the same. It's standard technology that we're all using. So with professional and continuing education, I think what's unique is that we're trying to offer those programs that are relevant today. We offer programs such as project management. We are creating a center of excellence with a very you know, advanced technology company called Unity, who's one of the leaders in creating 3D platforms in AV and AI and all of those various areas of technology. And I think taking that into consideration, we're growing and expanding that so that we can offer certificates, micro-credentials, looking into programs that, you know, can allow people to take what they already have. They may already come with degrees and other qualifications. How can we aid and support that to enhance and help them, you know, achieve the skills that the workforce needs today?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so during this pandemic, most of the students, internet students, I would say, they got admission. They were still in their own countries. Now many of them have started coming and joining classes physically. So how you are coping up with the influx of so many thousands of students now here in the campus?
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's a good problem to have, of course, and I think that's why we're growing. We're you know, trying to find other ways to build that capacity. But one of the things that we're uniquely doing is also having a hybrid model. Okay. So when students come here, they have the ability to, of course, have classes that are in person. They've got their professors in front of them, but also doing the online program, which is through, you know, logging into a system and having the virtual ways of classroom facilitation. That's really important today because employers are doing exactly that. We don't see one style where people are just sitting in the offices today and everything. The world is becoming globalized every day. So if you're working for any company today, you're probably speaking to someone, you know, in a different time zone, and you're going to be wanting to do that over Zoom or Google Meets. So using those aspects in our programming allows students to have those skills so they're comfortable whether it's behind a computer or in person.
Okay. So my next question to you is that there's no question that Canada is the hot favorite spot for the international students now. As far as I know, everybody in India, most part of the Punjab, students want to come here, get admission, but still there is a lot of misconception back home. People don't have much awareness about the programs, about the credentials of these universities, these colleges. So what is your message for parents and those students?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good question, and it is something that we also are recognizing as we meet with international students from different organizations, different areas across the city. And for Algoma University, and I think again to bring it back to my mother's experience, I think that's helped me understand how difficult it is for these really, in some cases, very young students who are traveling on their own. And many times the family has, I mean, we're talking about life savings that they're putting in so that their child can come over here. And so when I think about my mother's experience, I understand that we really need to put a safety net around these students. And create that sense of community, home away from home, right? So that they feel loved, they feel cared for, they feel like they're part of a community. And so we spend a lot of time with our students in those first couple of weeks, really ensuring that they're transitioning into the community, that they're actually realize that we drive on this side of the road, that you don't turn left to look, you actually turn right, all of these sorts of little things that you don't even think about, right? And we talk to them about healthcare. We really do a lot of work in those first few weeks about ensuring they know where to go if they have anxiousness or they're feeling really sad, they're missing home. Those are the kinds of things that we're really trying to help them overcome. We often, when we are in India or Pakistan or any of the South Asian countries, we really have to demystify some of the belief systems. So for my family, it's all about the prestige of the university that you're going to. And the private system is what they feel is better. So when we were over there, and we're doing the same thing in India, we have to educate people that the public system in Ontario is where the quality standards are very rigorous. And that if you are part of that 21 universities in Ontario, you're getting a solid education and the government stands behind you. You cannot put a degree forward without going through the quality assurance standards. And we also are funded by the government to ensure that we're putting in significant supports for our students. So I think if I was speaking to parents, don't get sucked into, for lack of a better word, the private or the very expensive, because we are seeing some very expensive tuitions for undergraduate. And sometimes I think people really get sold on something they think is better. And it's not true.
It's not true. Yes.
So what I would tell parents is do your homework, make sure you're on the websites, talk with the people in the universities. We are there to speak with you. We have whole staffs and recruitment teams. You should have a good feel after you're done speaking with them. And if they're not talking to you, that's a sign. Right?
So Algoma offers them that kind of help or service?
Yes, absolutely. And our students will tell you, we think you're like an amazing president because we already know you. You come to our campus all the time. You let us take pictures and you talk to us and you do things with us. And that's a big difference, right? Especially on a campus that really wants to know their students. So our students are not a number. A lot of times they'll tell you, I'm so-and-so and my number is this. And I write them back and say, I don't care about your number. I care about your name. And so it's about relationships, and it's really about those students knowing that they're important and that we're so happy that they're on our campus. And I always tell them, I meet with all of our incoming students, and what I share with them is, you made it. right? You got here. We know you can be successful. Now, if you don't cross that stage, that's my fault, right? And so we take that very seriously on our campus. We know that every student that has been admitted has gone through a rigorous process to get there. And so we know they can be successful. Now it's our job to surround them with the supports that they need to go on to be successful and to cross that stage. And I tell them, I'm going to hand you that degree, or that certificate, but you have to do your part, right? So in Canada, it's going to be hard work, right? The courses are not easy, but we give you all, I think it's 10 hours of tutoring per course, right? You have all the counseling that you need from, if you are feeling depressed or anything, we've got supports for you. You have to talk to us though. If you're struggling, we can't help you if we don't know. So we try to set the stage for them to be warm and welcoming, and that we're setting the stage for success. They have to do their part, and we'll do our part, and we have to communicate, and we'll all help each other, right?
Thank you so much for sharing all those thoughts. We know that there are so many unscrupulous kind of elements, consultants back home in your countries. If you're watching our show in India or Pakistan, Bangladesh, or any other country, beware of them. So universities like Algoma, institutions like Algoma are there to help your children or anybody who wants to come to Canada for better education, higher education. They are there to help you. Last thing I want to ask you is that keeping in mind the stats which we are getting is that the baby boomers who are getting retired, or our workforce, or our older generation, we see a severe shortage in the workforce in coming 10-15 years. So we can see that these students are going to play a very vital contribution role in the society, and our governments also understand that. So how you see that?
I mean, that's why we are so interested in the international student community, because we know that all of the cities in Canada are going to require a certain percentage of new immigrants to Canada to survive. And we think it's a beautiful strategy to bring the brightest minds to our country, to provide a top-notch education, and then to see them go into the workforce and to have their families and contribute back. And many of our students are contributing back to society. We are really tailoring our programs, and that's another thing that I would say to parents that are thinking about what programs do we, what school, what programs. And we're really trying to tailor those programs to the needs of the economy. And so when Sambul was talking about the partnership with Unity, just as an example, so those students would be coming with very strong computer skill background and a degree. And then they get a Unity certification, which makes them very valuable in the ICT sector, right? Because we know the industry is transforming before our very eyes. So that's one example of how we're building programs that are actually going to meet the labor demands, so that the students that are coming over are going to find employment once they're done with our program. That's very important to us. We don't want to have programs that they take that are leading them nowhere, right? That's not fair. So we have to design programs. So we're designing short programs, longer programs, minimally 2 years, but we are seeing a lot of interest in health, in business, in computer science, in social work, community economic development. So there's a lot of programs that our students are now taking the full degree in, and we like that as well, because then we get them for 4 years.
That's wonderful. Yeah, okay. So Sumal, being a granddaughter of immigrant grandparents and coming from that part of the world, and being young also, I will say young also. Okay, so what is your message who are listening to you back home maybe in Bangladesh or in any other countries? What is your message for them?
I think as Asma alluded to, I think doing your homework is important, and today it's accessible. Visiting a website, seeing what's there. I think it's important to note when you're coming into a university, not only the supports. There's obviously, when you're part of the public system in Ontario as a university, that quality control is there. So we know that we are offering academic excellence with all of our programming. But beyond that, seeing what city we're in, understanding that the community that we're entrenched in is going to help you ease into your experiences here as a student is really important. Being from an immigrant background, I know how much importance, cultural and belonging, that sense of just feeling like this is my place to belong is so important. That can play a large impact on how you do well even in your studies. If you're happy, mentally, you find friends and a community, then you will like going to classes, being around. And I think it's beautiful that at Algoma we do that. Just a couple of days ago, we hosted the welcoming of spring.
Okay.
So we brought practices of Algoma through our Indigenous roots, that Sault Ste. Marie's campus has, and even the Lynx and Brampton campus. But we had so many students from all over the world, and they shared stories of basant that they have back home in India, or Pakistan, and kite flying, patang urano.
Yeah.
Those kind of stories are beautiful because they bond us together in ways we never knew could be. So I think my message to everyone is do your homework, but know that this is a full experience when you're here, whether it's for 2 years, 4 years, that you're going to make this your home. So think carefully of how you want that to be.
And you're never stuck in the place you're in. Yeah. So if that doesn't feel good to you, you can still move to another campus or to another university. And so you're never stuck into that one program that you signed up for but is not making you happy.
Yeah.
And there is a help for you. The counselors are there for you to guide you. Yeah, okay. So again, at the end, I would like to share these thoughts with all of our viewers, whether you are here watching us in Canada or in US or in any part of the world. Algoma University is there to help your kids or those kids who want to come here and looking for a bright future in this country. Trust me, I'm also one of those immigrants who came to this country, started life from scratch. Today, we are running one of the largest media company in the country. It's all sheer hard work, but with some visions also, good team. We have many international students working here in our office, in our company, and their success stories in their own selves. So anybody who's looking for a better future, yes, you are very much welcomed in this country. And Algoma is a big brand now, carrying responsibility as president of vice chancellor of this prestigious institution. It's an honor, I believe. And anything you want to share at the end with our viewers?
I think just that I encourage community to come and visit our campus and to share with us the experience of students that that you're aware of, and if there's anything we can do better, we will. And we continue to think about ways to enhance the experience of those students, and we use our own personal experiences being in Canada and our families' experiences to really think about how can we make this an exceptional experience. So thank you so much for interviewing us today.
Thank you so much. So you would like to add anything at the end? Any future programs you guys are adding or thinking to add? Anybody who's thinking that they might have those programs in future, they might be planning in coming years to come to Canada?
Yeah, I think it's really key for us to hear those ideas of what the economy is saying. So we're constantly looking at people in what they're studying today, whether it's manufacturing, whether that's cybersecurity, entrepreneurship. That is also pieces that we are looking into to add more programming. So even if it's not your undergrad, but you have an undergrad and you want to come and re-skill so you already can build on the skills you have already, I think really, stay tuned with Algoma, connect with us, whether it's through social media or speaking to any of our, recruitment department. Just reach out and we'd be happy to speak to you. So.
And in the next couple of years, health sciences will be coming to Brampton.
Also in the,
yeah,
okay,
and a real focus for this university on mental health and addictions. We want to build a mental health and addictions research and training institute that'll tie into the medical school that's coming to Brampton through Toronto Metropolitan, and also Sheridan's nursing programs and health science center. So there's a really nice network of health science programming that is evolving in Brampton as well for those that are interested in the medical field or the health field.
I believe after post-pandemic, we have realized now that what kind of workforce we need at the most. And every day we hear stories from the government of Ontario particularly. They are in dire need of nurses, personal support workers, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure Algoma can play a very important role in that, training that kind of workforce.
Yes, we're very interested in, as we said, just meeting the demands of the workforce needs today, but also thinking about what are those workforce needs tomorrow. And one of the things that Sambul and I have been talking about is how can we also work with the developing countries and bring some of the Canadian curriculum overseas so that people don't have to come here necessarily to receive that schooling, but maybe we can send Canadian trainers over and to do some of that training work right over there. And we're very interested as well in working with communities that are trying to educate their young people. We take it for granted sometimes living in Canada that education is it's a given. Everybody has a right to an education, and we know that in so many of our developing countries that's just not the case. And when I was in Pakistan just recently, going to India in November, in Pakistan 25 million children are not being educated every year. And that's a travesty. And so we saw examples of philanthropists that are actually looking to educate as many young people as they can, and they're doing it as volunteers, as just good community people. And so we're thinking about how could we do something that gives back to these developing countries. And I think that comes also from, we've been so fortunate to grow up in Canada, to have had a Canadian education, and I think both of us feel that it's really important that we find ways to give back to our
both of you have roots back home,
to give back to those roots.
It will be a wonderful gift from you to that part of the world, and of course again go and search more information about Algoma University on their website. You would like to give any particular information about the website of Algoma, where they can find more information?
Yeah, I think just doing a quick Google search, you'll find us. And if there's any other questions, there's always for more questions, contact us.
Okay.
And we'd be happy to talk to you. And for us, it's really speaking to the people, hearing about what they're interested in their programs. It could be healthcare, it could be business, it could be IT, whatever their field they're looking into. We'd be happy to connect and look into that. And I think it's important to note that the programs we're designing is not just for today, so that they wouldn't take an education and come out and just get a job for a couple of months. It's really designing about looking beyond into what jobs and what career pathways can serve people for decades to come. So,
okay, so from 68 students to 3,000, and now ever growing. 5,000, you never know, 10,000, I don't know where it will stop. So Asima is doing a wonderful job heading this prestigious institution, which is ever growing. So if you want to be part of Algoma, you can find more information on their website. Thank you so much for coming here, talking to us, sharing your stories. It was a wonderful, experience to have conversation with you, and we will continue whenever you will visit Brampton or Peel. So we'll try to keep talking to you in
Keep the
future
story
too.
going.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Asima.
So nice to
And
be
thank
here.
you, Sumbul, for coming here.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot. And this was our special episode for today. As I told you in the beginning, you are going to listen wonderful stories from these two women and more about Algoma University. But there's enough more to share with you in the coming programs, next few episodes later on. But that's all for tonight. Good night.